Welcome everybody. Does white magic and black magic got your ear? Or at least just the title of the show get your attention, because this is part 10 of the occult series that what I'm going to be doing here. And hope you enjoy this. I'm going to take a lot of ground, and I'm just going to cover a few bases on how I'm setting this up to present it to you first. So I will be talking about black magic, white magic, but I'm not going to go into all the nuances of the different denominations of each one. Okay, black magic has a lot of denomination or sects to it. That's SEC, sex, not the other word. And even though you can put an X at the end of it, and some of it does involve that. But anyway, um, I'm going to just present an overview of it, what it's actually about, how it connects to Luciferianism, how it plays in the yin yang thing, and an overall broad picture of how it's used to collapse the system. You pit two sides against each other, both sides play against each other, and all this stuff. And I call the black magic side the stormtroopers of Luciferianism, and the white magic are the brain trust, the cerebral form of it. They both use occult rituals, magic, if you will, spell casting, and all that. We'll talk more about that next time. But, but for now, we are going to kind of jump into this in a very different way that you probably have never seen this before. And like I said, this is probably something you haven't heard because I'm presenting it outside the box. So people could, I'm trying to get you an understanding of what it is. So I did in the prior lessons here on this is that how it's basically based using theosophy, H.P. Blavatsky, the white magic crowd, the cerebral form, and there's different other denominations of this as well. I'm just dealing specifically with those because those are the more and these are the ones that are following the plan. As I can follow the plan, I can see it enacted in our world today. I can see it acting in our government systems. I can see it acting worldwide today. And plus, they have the goal there as well, and it lines up with setting up from a small group of people who meet together, who will prepare the way for the one to come, whom they call the silent watcher to come to save the world. Okay, that's what uh, it is about. In other words, we talk about the Antichrist. So I want to be talking about this from a Christian's perspective, and I'm not going to be talking from an academic perspective, just to let you know. And some people don't like the Christian perspective because the Christian's perspective has been tainted by bad theology. Okay, and it doesn't really answer this tainted Christianity that people see on TV and stuff has kind of ruined uh, what biblical Christianity is all about. And okay, so let's just go ahead and jump into this right now. So hold on to your hats, folks. We're going to jump into this like you never seen before. Okay, let's go. Does white magic, black magic got your ear, giving you a headache? No, this is not a commercial, folks. This is what's going on in the world today around us as I speak right now. So the question comes: is Luciferian really? Well, let me rephrase that. Is Luciferianism really just about black magic and white magic with all the weirdest stereotypes associated with these, or is there something more to these than first meets the eyes? And the answer to that question is absolutely yes. So I want to go to this very first slide and show you what it is. How, what is this more than meets the eye thing? And it's this. It's white magic, black magic are all about achieving the domino effect. So there's a domino effect of Luciferianism and white magic, black magic, and all its allied political systems of spiritual communism, that's spiritual fascism, socialism, Marxism, and totalitarian or democratic totalitarianism, is that they're all about short-term gains, all about short-term gains. So let me look at this domino effect here, and that's the political systems that they have. the domino effect and all its allied systems, which are, again, according to Alice Bailey, the objective is to stimulate the free will of the masses. The result upon them has been relatively good, as has led to the formulation and expression of the great world ideologies: fascism, democracy, or totalitarian democracy, or socialism, and communism, as well as that peculiarly distorted blend of fascism and communism, which goes by the name Hitlerism or Nazism. All these ideologies are fostered by a desire of the masses for the betterment of the condition in which the populace of in any country lives. It has become focused, expressive, creative by the force of the Shambhala influence. Shambhala represents a city or a place. I forgot the L. My dyslexia comes again. Where their four sages, aka fallen watchers, with their minions, influence humanity to make their better world, not so much for you. And so these three ideologies are aligned with the Luciferianism, is aligned with black magic and white magic as well. You got to ask yourself for a question: how do I know this? Well, since someone was going to announce their presidency, all the bona fide occultists and Wiccans and witches and stuff of certain groups of people are spell casting in the first of the month at the end of the month, and we're getting near the end of October, and you know what that signifies. And so, yeah, there is some political ideology mixed in with some of this white magic, black magic stuff, because what it's all about, again, is it is about wrong slide. It is about the domino effect of using this idea of achieving spiritual communism, fascism, and socialism and Marxism, because these are aligned with the goals of Luciferianism. And how they work is through the domino effect. I'll put the dominoes back up there. So you have a domino effect, and it's allied political systems. You see the dominoes. So if you hide the dominoes and you can't see them fall, this is how Luciferian works, and this is why black magic and so forth works. And it works to hide the domino effect. So you only see one thing, but you can't see the end result because you're blind to it. So you don't know the end result because you're deceived. Like the Bible says, they believe a lie. Okay, they believe the lie. So we're going to deal with some of this right now. So domino effect in Luciferianism and spiritual communism, fascism, social Marxism, democratic totalitarianism, socialism, so forth, is they only focus on the short-term gains that hide the long-term cost that is proven by reality. Okay, they deny reality. That's one thing that Luciferianism does, is they say they will admit that they're realists. They really are into facts and figures, but they actually deny reality because and they do, because they can't see the long-term cost of what they're doing, not on themselves. If you're practicing black magic, you can't see. You get started, it's all like a honeymoon period, and all of a sudden, the sleep paralysis comes and nightmares and things go bump in the night in your house, and you're going nuts. Okay. Or the white magic stuff, you're so caught up in this stuff, and all of a sudden you get some visitations that you don't really expect. You astral project somewhere, and all of a sudden you see something you shouldn't see, and you're going, I got to get out of here, and that's what happens. So let's just kind of look at this stuff a little bit more so we can see what's going on. Well, the white magic, black magic, both work together. They work together, that yin yang thing, to create order out of chaos. They make, while the angels, like, what they do is they're like the angels of light, promising a more fair, just, inclusive, diverse, equitable world where you own nothing and you will be happy. It's all about inclusiveness. And I can show you to Alice Bailey and Blavatsky about inclusiveness and equity, how they're so into equity. And I can show you those things I have as well. So what with the black magic, white magic working alongside of Luciferianism, just the idea of Luciferianism is to use these favored political systems and ideologies which line up with the Luciferian philosophy to a T. Therefore, there is enough evidence that Luciferianism helped develop these systems next. Like I said in this slide here, what happened to it? Oh, there it is. Huh. My slides are not working. Okay, I don't understand that. Okay. Why is it not? I need to show that slide. It's not showing. Okay. Oh well. So they work through the communists, the totalitarian, social democratic. They have that ideology. Why? Okay, let's try. Hopefully the slide comes up. Well, they work through the communism, fascism, socialism, Marxist, democratic, totalitarianism, socialism, so soft socialism, hard socialism. They only look at the short-term gains. They offer things like this. These political ideologies do this. They want to solve income disparity. It's all about tax and spend. Why? To cure racism, help the poor, make a better world of equity, diversity, and inclusion. Makes a Volksgemeinschaft. What is a Volksgemeinschaft? I was in college a long time ago, and I try to remember what the word is and could even pronounce it. I just remember the meaning of it because I was in systems theory about this stuff, and they talked a lot about Volksgemeinschaft, if I'm saying it right, and it's a German word, and it means there's really no way to translate it, and I forgot to put the link down here, and I put a link to TIK History, who talks about the same thing, but in a different way, but not about Luciferianism, but about something else that ties in with this very thing as well, who brought to my remembrance what the word was. And it is like a collective loving dovey combat veteran lock arms comradeship. It is community. You are a world citizen. You are a citizen of a new world. I guess that's the best way. Some of you know German better than I do. Then you can write out the meaning in the comment section. But in Gemeinschaft, it is a welfare state. It taxes the wealthy in order to give to the poor. It's all about price controls. It's about housing the needy. It's all about rent controls. It's about saving the planet. It's about saving the air. It's about saving the sea slugs from washing on the shore. It's about everything that's good, noble, just. It has to sell it to you like an angel of light in order for you to swallow it. But guess what? It hides the long-term cost, okay? These hide the long-term cost. Let's keep going here. The short-term gains hides Luciferianism and socialism view of themselves as morally superior. They present a morally superior way with a superiority that makes that touts that they're going to make a more humane, peaceful world where people all equally share out of a common group love. Hey, a Gemeinschaft, a Volk is people, people's Gemeinschaft, okay, a, a common group love achieved by reasoning, or aka use of enchantments to the masses, that socialism will be more productive, prosperous, liberating, a freer society because all will equally share all things in common based on equity, equal outcomes, thus creating a perfect world of peace, security, safety, love, compassion that is held together by an all-powerful welfare state. In fact, those are the very same things that Luciferians are all about. They can be very altruistic, okay? But the black magic crowd are a little different, and the white magic crowd are more like that. They're the ones channeling and they have different branches, and they pit each other against and fight against each other in a good-natured way in order to destroy the material world. I'm not going to go into all that right now, but that's what it's about. So, what's the outcomes? So you have the short-term gains to solve income disparity, by taxing and spending to cure racism, help the poor, make a better world of equity, diversity, inclusive, make that Gemeinschaft, that place of all lovingness, that based on a welfare state, tax the wealthy, price controls, house the needy, rent control, so forth, etc. But it hides hurting hurting the people they want to help. And they end up being enslaved to big government or the state. In Luciferianism, you just change that a little bit, and it's about being enslaved to Lucifer himself. Okay, just talking now. Who promised you the sun, the moon, and the stars? That's a pun, literally. Long-term cost that hides the long-term cost by reality, proven by reality, which is ever-increasing inflation, high taxes and all, class warfare, racism increases, economic collapse, social and cultural collapse. It also denies your humanity. It creates unrest, a two-tier society of serfs and the elites. That is what it produces, folks. It produces those things in umpteen degrees that you can't even imagine, folks. And that's what it does. So that's what they do. It's all about the white and black magic work together from a biblical perspective to make Revelations chapter 13 a reality on earth, a one world leader, and his kingdom is actualized on earth to bring about this new order of the age of equity, inclusion, and diversity that you're seeing now. How do they plan to achieve this? Through its allied political systems of government that materialism and capitalism is bad, evil, exploited. It's like Gnosticism. It seeks the destruction of the material world, and capitalism is viewed as materialistic. Okay, now it can be, but if you have a free market capitalism with some checks and balances, that'll actually improve society. It'll raise everybody's standard of living, lower taxes, and prosper all. Whereas the Marxist system says no, that can't be. Why? Because free markets are materialistic, and materialists are capitalists because the rich oppress the poor and produce competitiveness, and thus hurting the have-nots and even used to legitimize imperialism. So we have to destroy this system. Thus, materialism, free market capitalism, or capitalism can't solve the social ills. It can't institute social justice correctly. They cannot solve the class or racial struggles because it breeds materialism. It keeps it alive. Thus, they are less productive. So capitalism is less productive. And victimizes those who have less by exploiting the worker, fleecing the renters, empowers only the Anglo-Saxon race with a Judaic oppressive Western traditions that was used to justify imperialism. These must go. Civilization must outgrow these things to achieve the utopia for all, a socialist, Marxist, spiritual world. Okay? Like I said, let's go back and look at this again. Luciferian view themselves as morally superior because what are they doing? What are they doing? Whoops, I just got out of that. Okay, what are they doing? They are going to solve the ills, then they're going to solve the racial struggles because they want to spread the wealth around. Okay? That is the same ideology of the upper echelons of Luciferianism, and that is the goal, that's the heartthrob of these people. They are deceived, okay? They want to get rid of free market capitalism. So what they can't see is they offer the short-term gain of solving all the income disparity by taxing and spending to save the planet, cure racism, help the poor, make a better world of equity, diversity, inclusion, make that Volksloving Gemeinschaft community, or make that perfect welfare state that only taxes the wealthy, where you have to enforce price controls, to house the needy, rent controls. The reality of Luciferianism, aka, and its allied political system, is that it is used as a means to enforce economic and social control by the state rather than liberate the common people. History has proven that this ideal social welfare state has always led to the re-education camps, gulags, slave labor centers, gas chambers, the killing fields of Cambodia, mass starvation like seen in China, of equal poverty for all, like we see in Venezuela, a two-tier society of mass surveillance, Big Brother, and the destruction of our common humanity. In reality, this is a war against humanity. How do you want to try to sell to human beings who can reason and think, we're going to do something that good, we're going to sell it to you as good, but it leads to your destruction? They're going to sell it as the greatest thing since the napkin. And that's what they do. That's how Luciferianism works. That's how the devil works in the garden. He sold Adam and Eve a bill of goods that you can be just like God. You can control good and evil. Doesn't and well, unfortunately, sin entered the world through Adam, and here we are living in it. We're learning what good and evil is. Okay, man, I'm telling you. How do you like it? It's a lesson, I guess, we must have to learn. So, what's the bottom line here? The Marxist, social, communist, fascist, national socialism are all based on Luciferian ideas and its form of Gnosticism. Its form of Gnosticism, in bullet point, is that this Lucifer is the creator. He's the old god who created everything, created all the other gods, and this one god got amnesia, thought he was the creator god, so he decided to capture humanity from the mind of Lucifer and drag them down to the Lemurian age and split them male and female, and put them in the material world. And then the Atlantean age came up, and and it was all a mess. And so all Lucifer is doing is trying to liberate humanity back to the mind of Lucifer, the spiritual bubbles, these pre-existing entities called human beings, floating around in nirvana of nothingness, or a nexus like Star Trek Next Generation movie was about, or some utopia, and you just sort of just float around and exist, and it's all groovy. You go back to the universal mind, some of the religions they talk about, and you go back to the mind of Lucifer. And so the idea is you got to defeat the demiurge, who's known as the Judaic Christian God. And by defeating, how do you do that? In the ancient pagan religions give you clues of that or symbols of it. And you look at their mythologies and their storylines, and don't let them confuse you. I want to straighten out the symbolism for you. For the one that's most well known is Marduk, the god of Babylon, of Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, Marduk, who was going to shoot arrows at, I call it Big Bird, or the creator of chaos. And their idea of Luciferianism, the Lord God of the Bible is the chaos maker. And so this Marduk character, which correlates to the Antichrist, shoots arrows. Arrows represent progeny in the Bible. The Bible talks about, blessed is the man who has children, he has a quiver full of arrows, And so it's about progeny. So human progeny will be shot at in order to drag Jesus out of heaven, so they can somehow trick him, chop up his world, his order, his design, and build it back better. That is the Gnostic, in a nutshell, super simplified Reader's Digest condensed version of it. That's what it's about. That's what it is about. That's based on a form of Gnosticism. But in the reality, socialist idealism results in destruction. It does not work. It never has. It creates inflation, division, reverse racism, censorship, loss of human rights and freedom, corruption. Creates corruption like big time control. It's totalitarian deprivation is what rules, poverty. And what happens is the people are so infused to believing the lie, they refuse to acknowledge the truth and believe it wins ruthlessly if they push on and make an entire world communist, socialist, okay? The objective was to stimulate free will of the masses, according to H.P. Alice Bailey in Externalization of Hierarchy. I think it's 372. I think it's actually the hard copy. It might be the PDF. And upon them has been relatively good, as it led to the formulation and expression of the great world ideologies, fascism, democracy or socialism, and communism, as well as that peculiarly distorted blend of fascism and communism, which goes by the name of Hitlerism and Nazism. She's talking about the dark side, the unpurified form, the material side of fascism, and the material side of communism, which is Stalinism and Hitlerism. Hitler was a socialist. He was not a nationalist. He hated capitalism. He used the same arguments the communists use to burn down the system. Don't let them fool you. Communism, Hitlerism is only less than a microcentimeter to the right of communism. It's not the far right. Don't let them deceive you in that at all. At all. Don't believe that lie. And so they believe they can take over the world, bring down the United States specifically. They can take over the world. And guess what is happening? Like I said last week, in the sixth root ray stage in this transitory period, is there'll be no more America. As H.P. Blavatsky said, no more Western Europe. They'll become one new nation. What happens to the rest of the world? They divide up. They say they don't want this garbage. See, you need, two sides, constant chaos, in order to achieve critical mass, in order to produce and make everybody a pure spirit being again. Okay? Think about what I'm saying. And so here's some of the results of socialism, communism, and these systems here are the approximate deaths under communism, 60 million plus under famine, 20 million, maybe more in labor camps, and 10 million plus by direct violence. Throw in that fascism, the numbers increase exponentially. You add like another 10 million to labor camps. You add all kinds of deaths to that, and you're going way up there on deaths. And creating famine also increases, especially after times of war happen. So exponentially, these forms of government have always led to destruction. But the people who practice this, the Luciferians, are blind. They're blind. They can't see it. We're going to make a perfect world. If everybody thinks like us, we'll be okay. So in order to make them think like us, like I said last week, you make everybody narcissistic. Narcissists like to control other narcissists, to work through other narcissists to create a perfect world. And they want to infuse the world with self-love and this community love, this Gemeinschaft type of community of group love, group control, group conformity, and to control the world. In order to do this, you have to capture the ideas and put a new spirit into man in order to carry this out. This is a mockery of the Holy Trinity, okay? The Father is not about narcissism. The Son is about actual love that cherishes, nurtures, builds up, edifies, chastens, and it helps you along your way by sending forth the Holy Spirit, who puts us in unity with each other, as well as how to learn how to walk in the ways of the Lord, okay? So this is a mockery, because Satanism and Luciferianism, they're all the same. Some people disagree, but they are. But they mock and they imitate the things of God. They want to discredit the Bible. They did excellent in academia world. Talk more about that in a minute. So let me look at my notes. I got off my notes here. So they want to get rid of free market capitalism. So what does this do? What does all this have to do? Free market capitalism and these forms of government have to do with esotericism. What it has to do with white and black magic? It has to do with how, in the Christian sense, God created everything in the world. First, he is not the demiurge of the parasitic Gnosticism version. Rather, Lucifer is the demiurge. Next, reality is that there is a spiritual war being waged between good and evil. It is real, folks. And how does this war go? First off, God is not responsible for evil. He cannot deny. Why? How could that be? Because he can't deny his own self. He can't deny himself. He can't deny his own justice. To be absolutely just involves following or allowing free moral will. If he denied this to those whom he made with intelligence and reason in order to help him run things in his creation, also he didn't have to do this, but he did anyway, then he would not be truly a just God in all his ways, because God can't deny himself. You got to roll this around in your head for a minute and for a while, and you need to think about it, because he is not afraid of anything. So there is a battle between good and evil is going on. Humanity found itself captured while denying it was ever captured, blinded to blame God and reject him for it all. I suggest you take another look at God as well as who Jesus is, if you don't believe me. In Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, for example, explains something that the devil knew from Genesis 3:15 about the one to come who's really Jesus, who will crush the seat of the Satan's power. Okay? So in his parasitic fashion, the devil fashioned pagan religions to mirror the concept of Genesis 3:15, that he would send his champion who would defeat the demiurge god, aka using Marduk and his human minions to defeat the chaos being who they interpret as Jesus, to chop up his world and build it back better. Okay? Thus, the ancient pagan ideas crept into academia, preventing and blinding many to see who Jesus really is and what he came to do, because nobody really teaches this stuff anymore. But in first century church, this was common knowledge. It was a given, okay? Well, the devil counterfeits things so that people are left broken, deceived, without hope, after a honeymoon period, everything going their way, then one day mortality will hit you square in the face. Death cometh at your door. The Christian message is about salvation from the devil's system, this Luciferian system. In the process, God's people learn the knowledge of what evil is and goodness really is it means, how evil makes good things dysfunctional and not working, and how God's true goodness makes things functional and workable again, no matter what comes, because God is all powerful. God is the only one who can do that. God tests, he tries the reins of the heart. I think it's Jeremiah chapter 17 talks about. He will let you make wrong decisions while creating as many choices for you to return to him, when before you actually had none. You had no ability to, but he keeps offering you choices through creation, through this, through that, to know that he exists. And from Christian messengers are the Bible. From these, despite his foreknowing all things before everything has been, God still allows one to make their own choice despite already knowing the end result. God is that just and true to himself to do that. No one can convict God as the author of evil. Sin is the creature's own doing, not God's, because out of his justice, he will still let you make it because he has a plan to get rid of evil. If you read your Bible, you can find out what it is and stop complaining about it, that it's just a pagan book of myth. Why? Why is this important? Well, God will bring forth the perfect, and something perfect without evil in it. That requires you first remove the dross. That's a principle, okay? I don't know why that works that way, but God, that's just the way it works. The reality, truth is truth is the standard by which you measure reality. How do you purify something? Okay, through fire. To purify gold, you got to heat it up and remove the dross. Silver as well. Something very precious, you have to remove the dross, and that's what God is doing in this world. We are in a spiritual war, and vast numbers of humanity do not realize this. And those who, so many people, are captured by Lucifer and under his sway. While Jesus came to set us free from the devil's sway, plain and simple. The forces of darkness are aligned with these political systems, and these entities that are behind this are identified in Ephesians 6:12 as principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, and hosts of wickedness in heavenly places. This is the fallen world. This is the fallen watcher world. This are the demonic world, okay? I'll talk more about what these entities are later, or go back to some of my prior videos and find out. According to the main branch of Luciferianism, these entities are the fallen watchers, who are called the hierarchy, under 7 sages who helped to civilize humanity. Goes back to ancient Mesopotamian lore to a T. In the Luciferian Gnostic Theosophic circles, it's the white magic crowd, the cerebral brainchild of Luciferianism, describes how the devil always sways humans' minds and capture it later. Okay, they talk much about swaying it, and that is what they do. This hierarchy sways and captures humanity's hearts, minds. How do they do that? In their theosophic occult tradition, they commune by means of telepathy in order to communicate to to humanity how to altruistically save the earth by creating chaos so a new order arises out of the ashes of the old order to build it back better. Because your way is the only way, and you can't see the end result because you don't see the domino effect. All you look at is the short-term goals. The short-term goals. Okay, all you see is the short-term goals. And the short-term goals are what? A perfect world, make a better world. Yes, and it hides how where this moral superiority. Yeah, you're gonna have everything is going to be perfect and more productive than capitalism ever was. However, capitalism or free marketism with some controls under makes people prosper, lowers taxes. It does these things. It lifts people out of poverty. It creates more middle class. It makes more people able to upwardly move themselves upward according to their own ability and their own thing. That is how God designed human beings to be. He wanted us not to be a conglomerate, Gemeinschaft, in this Gemeinschaft in ideology, this world community of collectivism, all together in one city and one roof. No, he wanted us to move apart, different places. We learned how to trade and communicate with each other, not kill each other, basically, what I'm saying. But sin entered the world, that happened. But the basic point is you can trade and stuff like that. And the idea was to use the free market to better humanity. But sin nature has corrupted all that, okay? And it ends up producing Luciferianism in the capitalist system in order to so the upper echelons of capitalism become Luciferian and they want to take it all. And they want to control it all and control what you eat, what you think, surveil you, monitor, track, tag you, because they are morally superior. They're all about creating a better world for you, where you own nothing. America will no longer be a superpower, and meat will be a tasty treat. Have a bug burger. That's what they want. You got the WEF. You got other people out there. They're all about this stuff. They meet in the Groovy Grove. They meet in ranches in the Caribbean. And islands in the Caribbean and places all over the world. And like John Podestas wrote in his email, spirit cook all over the place. Halls of government types of people, what echelon, rulers of nations and stuff. Who they all are, I don't know who they are, but you can pretty much see what you're seeing. Fruit of it. Why are you seeing occultic symbols and symbolism of the Tower of Babel and on all kinds of sports halftime shows or just some type of outdoor event or concert? Why do you see all that stuff? You think there's a reason for it? I do. Evidence is overwhelming. So what of white magic and black magic? What role do they really play? Okay, so I'm going to go through here real quick here. Well, let me show. What do they do? Well, 1 John chapter 5 verse 19 says the whole world lies under the swaying power of the evil one. That's because of our sin nature. White magic, black magic plays on that swaying power of the evil one. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verses 3 and 4 says, even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled only to those who are perishing. In their case, the ruler, the god of this world, Satan, has blinded the minds of unbelievers to keep them from seeing the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. And so the whole idea is to prevent you from seeing what God has for you. For example, the free market systems betters the human conditions and stops the oligarchical and dictatorial control of the pyramid effect. Okay, how God designed humanity to go in separate locations and trade, but sin entered the world, and so the oligarchy always comes back and wants to control everything. It's this battle of good and evil here. And so what happens is, in the occultic world explains how the devil blinds with swaying power the whole earth without folks getting the wiser despite witnessing the existence of evil. In Telepathy in the Etheric Vehicle, Alice Bailey on page 8 of the online PDF answers it through telepathy, the recipients of that which is conveyed to him on the wings of thought. It's further explained in Telepathy and Earth Vehicle, page 7 of the online PDF. Through telepathic communication is between the soul and the mind, between the soul, mind, and brain. Telepathic communication is also between the master and his disciples. It's between the master and his group or the groups of sensitives and aspirants on the physical plane, between the subject and the objective groups, between the occult hierarchy, those fallen watchers, and the groups of disciples on the physical plane, between the hierarchy and the group of world servers, in order to reach humanity and lift it nearer to the goal. Her words, not mine. What do you think? Let's go through this quick. Alice Bailey, Treaty of White Magic. It is a group that has no esoteric organization of any kind, no headquarters, no publicity, no group name. It is a band of obedient workers and servers of the word, obedient to their own souls and group need. So you can't just go and say, oh, here's one group, here's another group. They filter in all different kinds of groups, and they germinate their ideas, and they get connection from the demonic world into their brain through telepathy, and how to carry out a plan, how to hoodwink people, how to get them into this thing. And these people actually believe they're doing good. They have to destroy the system, burn it to the ground. That is their goal and purpose, okay? And so no one can tell who's the leader, who's the real organization, because they mix in with so many people. Only when they meet together can they be identified. I guarantee you they are, like the book of Daniel says, they are a very small group of mover and shakers identified in Revelation chapter 17 and 18 as the great men of the earth, the uber elite wealthy class. Whoops, I'm in the wrong slide. All true servers everywhere therefore belong to this group, whether in the line of service is cultural, political, scientific, religious, philosophical, psychological, or financial. They constitute a part of the inner group of workers for humanity, making Luciferianism, and world of mystic whether they know it or not. They will thus be recognized by their fellow group members when contacted in the casual ways of world intercourse or speech. They will know each other because they'll share the same vision, the same dream of what? Equity, inclusion. It's all about solving income disparity, saving the planet. What a tax and spin. We're going to cure racism. We're going to help the poor. We're going to make a better world. Make an equity, diversity, inclusion. We're going to make a Volksgemeinschaft. Everybody loves each other. Have group love and self-love. Welfare state. Tax the wealthy. We're going to have price controls, rent controls, everything. Because this is the groovy grove we need to live under, folks. That's who and what they hide behind. That's all they see. They can't see the damage they will cause. The etheric body of the planetary logos are the 7 fallen watchers of Ephesians chapter 12, the principalities and their respective legions. That's my put that in there for you. Is swept into activity by his, meaning the devil's directed will, energy, is the result of thought form playing in through his energy body. The thought form embodies the expression of his world purpose. World purpose is collectivism, group control, group conformity, solidified by group love, to give up everything for the need of the many and none for yourself. Okay, all the subhuman forms of life and the human forms up to the stage of an advancement of men are governed by divine thought, which are an integral part of the whole. They react, however, unconsciously, unintelligently. Advanced humanity, the mystics and knowers, are becoming increasingly aware of the mind which directs the evolutionary process. When its awareness is cultivated and the individual mind is brought consciously into contact with the mind of Lucifer, that's who she means, as it expresses itself through the illumined mind of the hierarchy of disciples, apps. These are highly skilled powers, rulers of darkness, hosts of wickedness, instructing people. And we shall have a steady growth of omniscience, of power, of all-knowingness. You look at that. Let's create an AI system, be able to track, surveil everybody. We can reach omniscience, where we can create this perfect world with us in charge because we are morally superior because we're doing it for altruistic means to save the world. These peons from destroying the world. They're overpopulating. However, when a nation begins to overpopulate, if they have free market systems and stuff, you know what happens? The population automatically decreases. There's some mechanism that God worked in us. And case in point, Western civilization and America, Canada, populations are decreasing. But Luciferians can't do that. They're Malthusians. They got to cull populations without them knowing it for the betterment, for the altruistic good of the whole. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. This is the whole story of telepathic interplay in the true sense. It portrays the growth of that oligarchy of elect souls, men and women, who will eventually rule the world, who are chosen so to rule, and who will be recognized by the mass as eligible for the high office through the coordination that they have established between themselves. Wow. They established between themselves. Weffers. They meet in the Groovy Grove at the Bohemian Club. You go to spirit cooking ceremonies, yeah. They're in different places touting the glories of Luciferianism, collectivism in schools and education systems. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they know each other. Again, Alice Bailey and Externalization of Hierarchy on the it talks about it. It was the acuteness of the situation, the whole wide context of the cleavage would introduce the watching hierarchy to permit the direct inflow of the Shambhala force in spite of its attendant risk to pour into the world. The objective was to stimulate the free will of the masses. The result upon them has been relatively good, has led to the formation of the expression of the great world ideologies, fascism, socialism or social democracy or totalitarian democracy, and communism, as well as that peculiar distorted uh, dark version, material fascism and communism, which goes by the name of Hitlerism or Nazism or Stalinism. So how did they do this? Earthric vehicle, page 2, says how through the earthric body therefore circulates energy emanating from some mind. When humanity in the mass response is made unconsciously by growing responsive to the mass idea, sometimes called public opinion of the rapidly evolving human mentality. This group of thinker falls into 7 main divisions and is presided over by 3 great lives of superconscious entities. These three are mankind, the Manu, the mankind energy, the Christ, the spirit of Antichrist, or I say the Manu could be the Antichrist, and are through the spirit of Antichrist that works in the world today, and the Mana Koan, the false uniting fake Holy Spirit archetype who infuses and joins all humanity to Lucifer's design and plans. These 3 works primarily through methods of influencing the minds of adepts, or disciples, those who are in on the plan, and the initiates, those being initiated into Luciferianism who don't know about it. These later, in their turn, influence disciples, in other words, useful idiots is a Marxist term, that's who they are, of the world. These disciples, each in his own place and on his own responsibility, work out their concept of the plan and seek to give it expression far as possible. The stuff I wrote on blue is I interpret it for you so you can understand it. So you understand this gibberish. That's how. Through public opinion. Wow. Why is the media only allowing one view to be heard? Why is censorship influencing public opinion? Wow. We always thought the demonic world of the occult is about spell casting and sticking pins in dolls. We don't think about it as swaying public opinion in a natural, logical setting using psyops and high government officials. Why? Because they influence all the cultural mountains of influence at this time they have to disseminate this line of thought of this Luciferian idea of an altruistic perfect world to motivate these people because they now have been initiated to think themselves as narcissistically morally superior. And they're going to win the world through self-love, self-esteem, building up the person to make them narcissists like themselves, to join a collectivist world idea. Could we just get rid of free market capitalism and put everybody in a collective box and 15-minute cities together, we can make a perfect world that we can control of equity. Equity, it means that we give up everything we own in order to level the playing field while they don't give up a darn cent. Because they're morally superior. They're looking out for your best. How dare you ask them to give 95% of what they own to bring about equity in the world? Oh no, not them. You, the serf, yes. The common man and woman, yes. Yes. The short-term gains hide the long-term costs proven by reality. That Luciferian and these allied plans are used as the means to enforce economic and social control by the state rather than liberate the common people. History has proven this ideal social welfare state has always led to re-education camps, gulags, slave labor centers, gas chambers, the killing fields of Cambodia, mass starvation, equal poverty for all, a two-tiered society, mass surveillance, censorship, Big Brother, and the destruction of our common humanity. So let's keep reading. And so, all these ideologies are fostered by the desire of the masses for the betterment of the condition in which the populace in any country lives, and has become focused and expressive in creating the force of the Shambhala influence, those fallen watchers and their minions telepathically communicating the world through public opinion. Okay, where am I reading? Okay, I'm reading the bottom boxes of Alice Bailey, Externalization of Hierarchy, page 372 PDF, or probably the hardback. But another result of this inflow of the will to power, wow. If you follow me, you'll keep seeing this phrase, the will to power. That's the root race, first root race stage is the will to power. The first ray of initiation is the will to power. Has been to stimulate a certain group of outstanding personalities in many lands so that they have assumed control of the masses and thus can determine the policies, methods, religious, political, and social of the different nations. In every nation, a relatively small group of people decide all important issues and determine all major national activities. This they do either by force, terror, deception, or by persuasion, fair words, and an application of ideological motives. Of this situation in the world, the lords of destiny, the Ephesians 6 crowd, are availing themselves in order to bring the ancient conflict to an end and so enable humanity to pass into the new Aquarian age relatively free with a clear understanding of the right human aims, right relationships, and man's predestined future. What does she mean? It means destroy the demiurge, pull Jesus down out of heaven, chop up his order and design, build it back better. It's Gnosticism. These people are lunatics. And the Bible in Ephesians chapter 5, there, verses 8 through whatever it is, 15, what does it tell us? What is done in darkness has to be exposed. We have to expose what is done in darkness. We're not to join in with it. We're to stay away from it, but we're to educate ourselves with it so we can show that these people are nuts and their belief systems are nuts. Why does that do it? All of a sudden, their aurora of power diminishes, and you no longer you get free of their care. And one of the main things that defeats them is joy, laughter, and comedy, and ridiculing them. And they'll clamp down harder. But, if you look at the fall of the former Soviet Union empire that happened, and what was that guy in Czechoslovakia who became the prime minister, who used music, arts, and comedy to bring down the system. And all of a sudden, the whole system began to unravel because these people have been exposed. Okay, let's continue. Alice Bailey, Externalization of Hierarchy, page 39 PDF. In the first solar system, which is humanity was prepared and the principle of intelligence came into manifestation. I'm talking about the first root race stage. The second solar system, the hierarchy of love, made its appearance and must come into full manifestation, thereby enabling the love of God to be seen. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? But that means group love. That means love of self. It's the second ray of initiation, the second root race stage, to have used this love of the entities and contacting them and and self-love, becoming narcissistic, okay? Made its appearance and must come to its full manifestation, thereby enabling the love of God to be seen. The next solar system, the next age, the system which we call today the Shambhala, will manifest the will aspect of deity intelligently through love. It is interesting to note that only through human beings that these three centers can come to true functioning activity. Likewise, the three major ideologies, the totalitarian, the democratic socialist, and the communist, may be the response, distorted yet responsive to the forces playing from the two higher centers to the human. And we discussed this earlier in Destiny of the Nations. The human need, which has produced these modes of expression and thus see them for what they are, not worn out systems and childish efforts at improvement, but embryonic plans whereby eventually may come release and the culture and civilization of the new age. Please note, this is my note. By love, she means not doesn't mean what we normally consider love to mean, but rather group love, self-sacrifice as an equity for the good of the whole, a pseudo-altruism, a right to right the wrongs of materialism, to enjoin all to the at the right time, back to the Gnostic idea of returning to a pure spirit being state, united to the Christ consciousness. What's the Christ consciousness? Christ consciousness is the awareness that individuals are part of the universal system, guided by the hierarchy of spiritual beings, helping each person come into the knowledge of their higher self, improving themselves through stages of initiation, to come in unity with the God or the divine, Lucifer. That's who they believe, not me. Its purpose is to bring all humanity to a form of collective deep spiritual bliss, thus forming a perfect society world where all think, act, and are alike, a utopia. Doubters and those who react against the strict control and force used in this system to keep it all in line must be dealt with through derision, scorn, mockery. If this does not work, by banishment, censorship, and death if these do not force them to conform. Okay, now you know what it means. Okay. So listen to what she says here on page 372 of the hardback, Externalization Hierarchy. Material goal which all who love their fellow man and serve the hierarchy must ever have in mind and at heart is to defeat a totalitarianism. Listen to how she flips here. I do not say the defeat of communism. Let that sink in for a second. Not the defeat of communism. If you read her other writings, she's all about spiritual communism, spiritual fascism, combining, and socialism, all combined in a spiritual form of purity, and getting rid of the kinks, all the dark side of these things. Okay, all right. Let me go on and just tell you. But to defeat that which evil process which involves the imposition of ideas. Wow. Does not communism produce its imposition of ideas on the people? If you don't go talk about the narrative, you're censored. If you don't do what they say, you can't buy, sell, or eat, or something like that. I mean, do you see a contradiction here? How these spirits are going to take a word and change its meaning? Here, I'm going to show you. And which can be a method of the democratic nations and of the churches everywhere, as much as the method of the USSR. In other words, that's what she says. In other words, this we call totalitarianism. I would ask you to have this distinction clear in your mind. Your material goal is the defeat of all that infringes human free will, which keeps humanity in ignorance and applies equally to any established system, Catholic or Protestant, which imposes its concepts and wills upon its adherents. And here academia shouts, Christianity is all about shoving its religion down your throat. And we must stop it. Because you're a repressive religion. You enslave people. No, Christianity didn't enslave people. People hijacked Christianity and used it for that purpose. They threw Christians into indigenous lands. They have them massacred by indigenous people. So the Luciferian people at the top can use that as an excuse to wipe out the indigenous population to take over their land. Wake up and smell some coffee, for God's sake. Get your head out of your books, for example, and use your brain that God gave you. Christianity is all about giving you a choice to come to Christ or not, how to change your life. Live and let live. If you don't want Jesus, bye. Then how do you explain the Crusades? Again, people hijack any religion for political gain, for Luciferian ends. And so if you're a Christian, you're viewed as a narrow-minded bigot, someone who's backwards thinking, who's somebody who's running to be the ruler of the free world, says, oh, you Christian people, get out of here. You are in the wrong place. You need to go to the smaller rally. This tent, this platform, this party doesn't represent you. You are evil. You are an oppressor. You're a bigot. You are a hater. If you really loved your fellow man, you would agree with everything we say in our altruistic ideas, but you don't, so you are the enemy. You see how this works, I hope. Totalitarianism is the basis of evil today. It's found in all systems of government. Education is found in the home and in the community. What she's saying here, this is 1940-ish. This is the America that we grew up to love, that we were patriotic to and to serve, and our government system was for the people, by the people, and of the people. It had checks and balances. It had produced stability, peace, and prosperity through the 50s and 60s and so forth. But that system is totalitarianism, according to the Luciferianism, and it has to come crashing down because it's not perfect totalitarianism as communism is. Remember, it says, I do not say the defeat of communism, but the defeat of everything else for spiritual communism. I refer to the imposition of the will of the few upon the total mass of the people. To defeat this undesirable tendency everywhere, your definite material goal. Why should you use that? That's black magic terms. Use the black magic, because black magic is all about materialism. Use materialism to get people sick of materialism so they're the defeat. They're the shock troops. I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. Externalization hierarchy, PDF, page 40. The two forces are used to increase tension in the world. Black magic, white magic. The forces of black magic materialism streaming out into three worlds of the so-called dark forces or Black Lodge, and from those groups, lives and workers, which are the antithesis of the Great White Lodge. That's talking about the White Magic Lodge. There is little that I can tell you about the dark forces. They are not the problems of humanity, but of the hierarchy. The dark forces are any who oppose Bailey's pure spiritual communism. That's the group back here in government and in the community, family. That is viewed as oppressive. The patriarchal system of the male loving his wife and sacrificing for him, it's evil. And you have to destroy the family system and have the state run your children, because the children can't grow up, because they might want to at 2 years old or 1 year old want to be mommy. So why not transition them at 2 years old? Let them make their own decisions. We're about freedom, liberty, altruism. Spiritual communism. See it? They're not the problems of humanity, but of the hierarchy. So the hierarchy will set everything up to war against true biblical Christianity and the Hebrew people, conservatives, anybody who stands and opposes them, who are not even believers, or even atheists who have a good heart. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? You are now the enemy. Okay, what is all this about? Well, you have the pillar of severity, justice, the feminine, the dark lodge. This is how would I say, this is totalitarianism, inflexible fascism, Stalinism based on materialism and individualism, patriotism, so forth, etc., is under that. And the pillar of mercy and compassion is the kinder, gentle, totalitarian, fascist, communist collectivism. Okay, I gave this before. The central crown is to merge into equilibrium, pit these two sides against each other to create the sattva, one of three virtuous ways of achieving purity, equilibrium through a paralaic, the dissolving and melting away, termination, bringing everything into a non-existent state by blending the masculine and feminine together to create synthesis of unity, harmony, balance, a nirvana. I put Saturn's reigns leads to this. This is an old slide. That's what they're talking about. Education of the New Age is all about, Alice Bailey wrote that book, and Education of the New Age is all about infiltrating the education system with this new line of reason. Don't teach reading, writing, and arithmetic. Don't build up patriotism. Don't teach history. No, erase it. Okay? Why? For cooperative goodwill is all that can in this time be expected from the masses, when this is sublimination of forces released through civilization, that means the spirits, through telepathy. To create loving understanding should be the hallmark of a cultured, wiser group, plus the ability to correlate the world of meaning with the world of outer effects. Ponder on the sentence. Group love and must be the outstanding characteristic of the Illuminati of the world, and it is this time the motivating power of the masses, of the masters of wisdom, until such time as enough disciples are expressive of this particular force. What she's talking about is educating the masses into spiritual communist thought, so that you have there's a domino effect. What they do is they look at the short-term gains that hides a long-term cost that's proven by the reality that this system doesn't work. Okay, so they want to bamboozle people. Exactly what they want to do. Okay. Says on the Earthric vehicle, Alice Bailey, page 4 in the online PDF, the Earthric body of the planetary logos, the 7 head watchers of the Ephesians 6 crowd, is swept into activity by the devil's directed will as energy as a result of his through his thought form playing in and through the energy body. This is thought form embodies the expressive of his will and purpose. This world purpose is collectivism, group control, group conformity, and group love, surveillance, enslavement. Okay? So they want to do this by telepathic communication and through means of media, arts, entertainment, through forming a public opinion, dumbing down the education system, denying and changing and altering reality and truth, so that roosters can lay eggs and hens can mate with roosters, so roosters can lay eggs. It defies reality. If you disagree with the narrative, you're a bigot. You're one of those oppressors. We need to silence you. We need to put you in a re-education camp. So you're thinking right, like the rest of the crazy people. Okay? Sterilization of hierarchy, page 62. All it is about is, she's going to talk about the dying process. This is all about producing death. Such dying, let me go back here. Did I have it here? No, it's right here. Such dying, pain has always been a purifying agent employed by the Lords of Destiny to bring about liberation. The accumulated pain of the present war and inherent pain in the earlier stage, begun in 1914, is bringing about desultory and changing world consciousness. In other words, the devil wants to inflict pain in order for you to change, just to crush you, to conform. Use whatever means to try to get you to go into this new world thought, okay, that they want you to think. The Lord of Pain has descended from his throne and is treading the ways of earth today, bringing distress, agony, terror to those who cannot interpret his ends, but bringing also a re-stimulation of the instinct to self-preservation, which is its higher aspect, is the instinct to immortality. It tends to focus on humanity's attention upon the life aspect, not upon the form. The names of the lords of karma, or karmatic justice, signify symbolically, from the angle of their inner meaning, relationship, enlightenment, pain, and return. Ponder this. They are all peculiarly active at this time. In their activity lies the hope of humanity. In other words, we're going to torture you until you comply. If you don't conform to the narrative, we're going to, and then you protest, we're going to docket your account. We're going to penalize you. If you go against the narrative, we can arrest you. But those who are inflicting the pain and burning down cities, who are on their side, well, they'll let them go free. But if you complain about it, curtains for you. We have to inflict pain on you to have you conform. That's spiritual communism that they want for the world. That's Luciferianism in a nutshell, along with its political allied ideologies, whom the devil helped form in the minds of humanity through telepathic communication, like Karl Marx. Where did the idiots come up with this stuff? Oh, they got it from this other guy back in the 1600s, or Jane Lead or whatever, a long time ago. Where did they get it from? Where would Adam Westphal get it? Where did Nimrod get it? It just keeps going on down the road, right back to the Luciferian dream of world domination that Nimrod had. Okay? So this brings us, and I want to end this on the topic. I know I'm going over. I am going to go. This is long. I'm sorry. I apologize. Keep tracking with me. Hope you're not bored. This goes with what white magic is. How they do this. White magic is spiritualistic. It's a symbol of a white lodge, white magic. It's all about creating a sense of stability, strength, compassion, universal service, tolerance, selfless service, working towards a divine end and divine light to bring a new world order into existence, this new perfect or new order of the age. They're going to guide the way. This is classic Gnostic dualism. Why do I say that? Because black magic materialist is symbolic. And I wrote this in another thing. They're the spiders who weave chaos. They're the black magic types. It's all about them distributing power, severity, justice, dominance, glamour, love, and to increase materialism, working to a divine end and divine light. They want to increase materialism while the white magic people want to decrease materialism. So you make one group hooked on materialism. It's all about materialism and making you wealthy. And, let's see, like Daniel Webster wrote this book, and I can't remember the name of it. It was classical reading back when I was in school, and how Daniel Webster came to defend this guy who sold his soul to the devil. Okay, and when this guy sold his soul to the devil through this black magic art and signing in blood and stuff, he got prospered. It hailed, but his crops survived. He got power. It was all about power. He became heady, and all of a sudden, awesome reality hits him. This ain't all that in a bag of chips. And he had Daniel Webster try to defend him out of his bargain that he made with the devil. It's a classic work, but the principle is the same. That's what black magic people do. They are into, there are different denominations of them. There's Crowley's group. There's Anton LaVey's. They're the new Luciferian individualism crowd who disagree with everything I say. They say, we don't believe in the spirits. Oh, yeah, right. Okay. But you're all about altruistic aims, right? You're all about being so tolerant, but if anybody disagrees with you, not so much, are you? You call them haters, bigots, so forth, etc. You try to uh, look at the standards of Christianity, how it hates. We're going to pit these against each other until you conform. Oh, yeah, right. You're really loving, kind. You can't live or let live, right? Yeah, I got it. This is Santorina. This is some of the really dark voodoo stuff. This is a whole gamut of things that are under the black magic. But these are shock troops in order to increase people's glamorization of materialism. So they enter into the world through advertisements, through uh, whatever, to glamorize things, winning. You are a man. You're going to conquer the world. You're going to be the richest man on the planet. All the girls will love you. You're going to have a harem of girls around you if you use this product. Your muscles are going to grow big. Your chest is going to be big. You're going to be swinging through the trees, grabbing all the girls, and everybody will love you. If you just buy this product, or the girls will, you look like Aphrodite, and you'll find your man. You'll find your demiurge. You'll find your guy. Well, but sorry, girls, he ain't all that. He's swinging through the trees, so you're on your own now. So they sell you this stuff. How? through realistic means, through communication. How do these people get these ideas in their heads and create some of these weird movies and demonic images and this stuff? Through telepathic communication. How are you going to explain it? Where's it pointing to? The destruction of all that's decent and good. Chop it up and build it back better, because it's about altruism. So you have to use materialism to make people sick of materialism, so the white magic people can take over, which would be the Theosophists and a whole slew of other entities under that. There's different forms of Theosophy, H.P. Blavatsky, um, secret society, so forth. Fabian socialism is another example of that. Masonic stuff as fits under this as well. The white magic people who are going to govern the world, the uniparty people, fit under white magic as well. The Liz Cheneys and stuff. It's all about strength, compassion, universal service. Okay? The goal is to destroy objective truth and reality, replace it with a dominant form of subjective truth, to inflate self-love, create a narcissistic society and culture by using black magic side to induce hedonism and materialism. Why increase why increase materialism? So people learn to hate it, so that followers either transition over to the white magic side, conform to it, or remain in the dark to destroy the system. So they'll be used. Why is that? To establish power, to create synthesis through compromise. So you want your enemies to compromise with you. This is Hegel's dialectic, who got it from another guy, occultist. To achieve a paralaic, a dissolution, a breaking down, a disrupting, destruction through compromise of the old order. And you have a new spirit being birthed inside of all humanity, a rebirth from duality when male and female join together. Listen again. Whoops. Sorry, I need to find a video, a slide that failed to show up. Okay, remember? Okay, destroy humanity. They want to destroy the free market, whatever is good, decent, and good and prosperous, so that everyone relies on the state governed by Luciferian thought ideas. The ultimate goal is to erase our common humanity, liberty, intellect, make a new humanity no different than animals, to be culled, exploited, enslaved. Brooke Adams said this. The Democratic congressman from 1965 to 1993, no lightweight, said this. To achieve world government, it is necessary to remove from the minds of men their individualism, loyalty to family traditions, national patriotism, and religious dogmas. Revelation chapter 13, Jesus mentions in Matthew 24, as it was in the days of Noah, comes the rise of the Antichrist and new humanity 2.0, 3.0. Those are the people that the black and white magic are kept in the dark about till they're initiated into higher levels. So the white magic, black magic is to initiate you into the world of Luciferian thought. Okay, so so what? You can't see where it leads. You see short-term gains of altruism, but the reality is proven history. The long-term cost is proven by education camps, gulags, slave labor centers, gas chambers, the killing fields of Cambodia, mass starvation, equal poverty for all, Venezuela, two-tiered society, it's happening right now, mass surveillance to keep everybody in line, a economic system where they can control you like Big Brother and control speech and censorship. The destruction of your common humanity is what they want. Just like Brock Adams said, you have to remove from the minds of men their individualism, family traditions, national patriotism. How? Through public opinion of swaying, through movies, arts, entertainment, through the cultural mountains of influence. You seen any of that lately? Let's conclude with this statement. Maurice Strong, that's kind of blurry, from the UN, said this. What if a small group of world leaders were to conclude that the principal risk to the earth comes from the actions of the rich countries? In order to save the planet, the group decides, isn't the only hope for the planet that the industrialized civilizations collapse? Isn't it our responsibility to bring that about? The material girl meets the white magic world and becomes pure spirit being, soaking it up in bliss of nothingness in the mind of Lucifer. That's how white magic, black magic, an overall pattern works, along with Luciferian ideology, to pit groups of people together to finally solve duality, this yin yang principle. They want to by through they want to create the chaos to make a new order of the age out of the chaos they make. So they play both sides. They play everything against each other. They want you sick of material world, so you surrender to the white magic mindset of group love, conformity, that Gemeinschaft or Schuld. Can't. How did I? Where did I have that written down at? That hides that. Yeah, here it is. So the short-term games, they solve income disparity through tax and spend. They cure racism, help the poor, provide a better world of equity, diversity, inclusion. They make a Gemeinschaft, this collective humanity of group love, group conformity, the welfare state, where you tax the wealthy. You tax the wealthy to tax everybody else. Use price controls. You house the needy. You take from those who have to give to those who not, but not the ones involved in it. They want rent controls. They sway you over that. The hides uh, that these people view themselves as morally superior, as they're more humane, peaceful, and they can make a more peaceful world where all people are equally share out of a common group love, achieved by enchanting the masses that socialism will be more productive, prosperous, liberating, a freer society because all equally share all things in common based on equity, equal outcomes, thus creating a perfect world of peace, security, safety, love, compassion that is held together by an all-powerful welfare state, which will be seen in germinating in Book of Daniel, seen there, the Antichrist chap rising up in Revelations chapter 9 through 13, who comes to rule the world, where you can't buy, sell, or eat. Remember the use of force and inflicting pain in order to make sure you comply is thoroughly accepted by these people. They're really loving, aren't they? Okay. So they hide the long-term cost they hide hurting people who they want to help. They enslave them to the state, big government, to Lucifer, basically, increasing the inflation. They have high taxes, class warfare, racism increases, economic collapse happens, social, cultural collapse. They teach you all comes, and the result is denying your humanity. You have to do transition. You have to unrest, two-tiered society of elites and serfs. The long-term cost proven by reality of Luciferian and its allied social systems of government is used as the means to enforce economic and social control by the state rather than liberate the common people like they say. History has proven that there's this ideal social welfare state always has led to the re-education camps, gulags, slave labor centers, gas chambers, the killing fields of Cambodia, mass starvation as seen in Mao's Cultural Revolution in China, where I was at 40 to 50, 60 million or something like that died in that. Uh, and I don't know, 20 million or so died in Russia too. Man, the numbers are astronomical. Okay. Of equal poverty, like seen in communist countries, equal poverty for all, equity, that's what equity is. A two-tiered society of the richest of the rich and the poor serfs, who are massively surveilled, controlled, tagged by Big Brother, and the destruction of our common humanity, and the destruction of world government that's necessary to remove from the minds of men their individualism, loyalty to family, tradition, national patriotism, and religious dogmas, all brought about by a small group of world leaders, that they concluded that the principal risk to the earth comes from the action of the rich countries. In order to save the planet, the group decides isn't the only hope for the planet that the industrial civilizations collapse? Isn't it our responsibility to bring that about, to destroy free market capitalism that lifts people out of poverty, so we have this perfect Luciferian world, so we can all finally get back to a pure spirit state, a pre-existing in the mind of Lucifer? I read the end of the book. It doesn't bode well for the devil and all who follow him. It really doesn't. Let me read it to you. I wasn't planning to. I wanted to conclude with that, but I want to read it to you just so you understand um, well, where this ends. So far, this book, this Bible, is an incredible book, the way it's written. It's not a history book. You don't read it as an academic exercise. And when you start reading it, and when you're saved, the Holy Spirit will begin teaching you out of it, and you'll see things. You'll see Bible prophecy coming to pass. Israel became a nation in one day. That came in 1948. There, and you saw they returned the second time from being scattered, and that was from the end of the World War II to up to current date. But right now, in 1948, when they is another day. These things prophesied what we're seeing, the Psalm 83 war that's happening now in Gaza Strip and the northern shoulder of Israel. Northern shoulder of Israel has been told about already. When the prophecy comes about, it becomes very plain what it's about, what you see. Okay? So, we come down here. What's going to happen? And the devil who deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and false prophets are. They'll be tormented night and day forever. And they're pure evil. And I saw a great white throne on him, and who sat on it, whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there were found no place for them. And I saw the dead, the small, the great, standing before God, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged according to their works by the things which were written in the book. The sea gave up its dead who were in it. The death and hell gave up the dead who are in them, and they were judged each one according to their works. Death and hell were thrown and cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Anyone not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. So while you're thinking then you're Luciferian, you'll be floating in nirvana state. You'll be actually swimming laps in the with Lucifer and the false prophet and everybody else in the lake of fire. And your only hope is Jesus Christ. I know many of you out there listening probably don't know who Jesus is or even believes in him. And you think he's just a myth. I take the challenge. Ask Jesus Christ to prove himself to you. And then some of you realize you're tired of night paralysis and other problems. Why don't you just come to the Lord and say, Lord Jesus Christ, save me, take me as I am. Help me find you. Help me follow, keep me and protect me the rest of my days. Just help me become a believer and follower of Jesus Christ, and teach me what this Jesus thing is all about. This Jesus thing is all about is a process of changing you day by day. God's not up there beating you up every time you did something wrong. He says, come to me, talk to me, tell me why you're doing it. He'll forgive you 100 times, 1,000 times a day. And he'll ask you someday, are you tired of doing it? Why don't you let me get rid of it for you? Let me show you the trauma that happened in your heart, that broke your heart, that gave you, crushed your life, broke your heart, devastated you. Let him, through the power of the Holy Spirit, heal that in you. Let him set free what holds you captive. You keep doing the same stupid things over and over again. You're addicted to something, whatever. And he wants to free you of that. And then he wants to heal you of the trauma that caused that, the broken heart, what crushed you in life. And he wants whatever's holding you in bondage. He wants to set you free. How? He wants to give you the full counsel of God, of who Jesus is, that now is the acceptable time of salvation. And there does come a time of vengeance of the Lord, as I read in the book of Revelation, where there's no more. God already knows the final result. And those that are in that camp, hey, they ain't going to make it. But right now, he's reaching out to you. And he wants to give you the oil of joy for the spirit of heaviness that you're going through. Why? He wants to make you make you the trees, plantings of his righteousness, how to do right instead of wrong in the world, with him teaching you and guiding you how to reflect the gifts of the fruit of the Spirit of love, joy, peace, holiness, so forth, etc., and righteousness, and how you govern your world. Okay, you'll make mistakes. You're not perfect, but he'll forgive you. He'll heal you up. He'll get you on your way. It's called sanctification road. And then when you do die, because this flesh will die someday, you got heaven. You'll spend eternity with him. And on this journey through this life, you'll learn more about who he is. And he will prove himself real to you. And I guarantee you he will. Yes, you're going to go through hardship and pain. This world is full of woe. It is fallen. And the only way to get through it mentally intact really is to accept Jesus and have him help you along life's way. God is about grace and mercy and truth. And sometimes he will get angry enough when people will misuse his love and grace and mercy as the license to practice Luciferian thought, practice sin, and produce death in the world. And he will hold those accountable. And if you want to escape that held accountable, when you die, you will be judged and held accountable. You have plenty of time before you die, but do you know if you're not, how you know if you're going to live in the next few minutes? That's why I say you should come to Christ Jesus now and just pray, Lord Jesus, take me, I'm yours. I don't understand all this thing this crazy guy's talking about, but help me find a good group of people at church, no phonies, no fakes, no cults. Lead me in the way of everlastingness. Make me born again by your Spirit and teach me. Fill me with your power, love, and mercy. I need it in Jesus' name. Just pray that prayer. Pray however you are led to after you get off. Stop watching this video. With that, I am going to conclude this video, as I always do, with my contact information, website information, email address, how to support me, email addresses, and my 2 books, Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion, Heaven Beckons. I leave this up to you to decide if you want to support what I do and you think this is worthy to support, because it is expensive to do this. It takes time and effort as well to write books and stuff. And so if you'd like to support me, the best way you can support me is buy my books and pass them around. Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion is my testimony about hell, and Heaven Beckons is about something that happened after seeing hell, where heaven beckons me to come to return, as well as you, when you accept Jesus Christ. So it's about heaven and what the Lord revealed to me about heaven. That's what that book is about. So if you like to support what I do, pass some copies around to people. As well as note that if you're contacted by email or a phone call, and that's not me. If you know, I don't do that to people. I don't beg for money or anything. And I do have people offer help and stuff. I may take you up on that, but I'm not going to initiate it, okay? And I'll make sure, and I'll do everything I can to cover my own costs first, okay? And don't think that way. People always accuse Christians of being after money. I'm not. My goal is to pour out what the Lord has given to me, all the knowledge he has, into you so you can run with the vision. I get nothing out of it. All I get is eternal rewards, okay? I'm here just serving Jesus, and I'm satisfied with that. I'm just a servant, and I want to teach you to run with the vision, take off of where I teach onto other things. With that, I'm going to conclude. I'll go to the live chat temporarily here for those of you who are interested, just for a few minutes to see what people say. Okay. Yeah, there it is. Bill Keppel, thank you. The Volksgemeinschaft is a German expression meaning the people's community, folk community, national community, racial community, depending on the translation of its component term Volk. That's a Wikipedia. But as I learned it in college from a guy who spoke German, says this is a hard word to translate because it has a unity a spiritual unity. Well, the Volksgemeinschaft talk about blood, but blood means spirit. It means a community bound by the same spirit of unity and brotherhood, the brotherhood of man, or however it's used. It's Volk community, people's community bound by blood, by spirit, the same spirit to produce a perfect world. And something like that. I can't remember how I wrote it down somewhere, and it's in a book over there that's buried in a box that my wife and I were at before she passed away. We were getting ready to hopefully move someday out of here, just to go someplace different, either in Colorado or just a new location outside of a big city. And when she passed, that idea shot down. I have no idea what to do yet. So anyway, I wish I could find that thing. I could read it to you. Blessings. Yeah, blessings, everybody. And like Big Ragu says, equity equals equally poor. You got that right. And they have masses dumbed down enough to accept it all. What? Telepathic communication to those to telepathically communicate to other people who do not know they're being telepathically communicated to dumb down the education system so people will accept it. Luciferianism is a very logical, reasonable, and intelligently well thought out method to enchant the masses to commit collective suicide without any of them realizing it. And people are taking it hook, line, and sinker. And I agree with Ken. Hi everyone, may the Lord protect us all. Yes, I pray the Lord protect us all, keep us from all harm, keep us from the evil one, Lord, in this dark hour. Lord, protect us in Jesus' name, protect our families. In the upcoming days, who knows what it will be like until in November, what will happen in the United States. Protect us in Jesus' name. I'll add to what Phil says. Those at the high up elites have sold their souls for what they think is the truth. Well, they're narcissistic. It's their truth is they are morally superior. They're more altruistically minded. They have the best ideas. If everybody complies with their ideas, they have a perfect world. The devil initiates by implementing thoughts of the will to achieve power, to dominate, and he makes narcissists out of people. He does through love bombing to increase one's self-esteem, self-love. And it further makes men lovers of themselves, more narcissistic, haughty, proud boasters, so forth like that. Because their love is superior. Love is love, and that's superior than any other type of love. Yeah, collective Gemeinschaft type of love. Blood, community, spirit. The third part of the initiation is about spirit. Being one spirit, the Gemeinschaft. I'm going to use that in there. I'm going to use that because that would fit because it's a spirit. But back when Mustache Man was using it, it was Blut, meaning spirit, blood. I had elementary high school German. I can't speak a lick of it now. I used to be able to speak some Greek and Hebrew, but I don't take those classes, and I stopped speaking it, and I have to use study guides to understand it. I mean anymore. I know how to interpret and translate the tenses and stuff, but I'm so rusty at that. Also took French, and from kindergarten all the way to sixth grade, we took French. I can't speak a lick of it now. I know a few words, but I don't know. The other side always accuses us of what they're guilty of doing. It's called mirror. We learned in psychology and sociology. It's called mirroring. Mirroring your faults and transgressions upon your enemy, so those allied to you will join your cause, because they think that the way you are like is your enemy. So you got allied. Then once you take over and destroy your enemies with their help, then they see you as you are, and you get rid of them really quick. The Bolsheviks did a good job of that with the Mensheviks, okay? Read about it. Russian Revolution, 1916 through 18 there. Just read about what happened, how it all came about. Yep, they're spiritual idiots. I agree. And Joe McKinnis, I agree with you. I can't believe, just like you can't believe, we're actually at this stage in our society. Isn't that amazing? And the church world is largely ignorant of the effects of the occult world into the church as well, which I'll talk about white magic, black magic infiltrating the church as well, but in another episode. But just they're ignorant of it. And they can't see it because we've become academized to be logical and intellectual. You got to have everything spelled out in so we can understand it. And, nothing wrong with that. But you need some logic and some reasoning to put things together, kind of think outside the box. People don't want to think outside the box, connect the dots, because it's not safe. They might say something wrong. I grew up saying things wrong all the time because I was born with a partial cleft palate and I didn't have the roof of my mouth. When I ate, food went back into me. I nearly choked to death a lot of times, and I had to do surgery. Then I was in hospitals and all that. I wrote about it in my book, Heaven Beckons, how it left a deep heart wound in me, about destroyed my life, and from that event. So I grew up with people making fun of me all the time. So I had to fight. I always had to stand up for myself when I didn't want to. So I became ornery. And my family thought I was timid and stuff. I was timid around them, but boy, when I was out with my friends, we were thrill seekers. Wow. Things that we did remains silent. And we didn't do anything bad, and we almost burned a house down by accident. That was my house. Boy, did I got spanked real good for that. I deserved every lick I got on that one. We made our own fireworks, our own explosives. You want to know what we did with those? Boy, that was fun blowing up things. I mean, we had chemistry sets, and we made things that go boom. I'm glad I did not do the nitroglycerin experiment, or I would not be here today. Enough said of that. Oh man, boy, we were thrill seekers. We threw things and knocked out windows so people come out and chase us. We set traps in the wood underbrush so they come and they trip and fall. We had police chase us. They did that. We knew where all the traps were. We jump over them. It was in the dark, so we knew what we were doing. We got away. We knew all the ins, outs, and ways of escape. We did things like that just for the thrill of being chased. Oh well. Anyway, I digress. Democrats are the party of chaos. You got that right. They became the party of chaos. Okay. Yep. Barack Hussein, Flop Obama. Yeah, he said that fundamental transformation of America. His one puppet didn't work out so good. We'll see how his next puppet works out. Yep, Jesus Christ of Nazareth is the only way of salvation. Today is the day of salvation. Glory to God. Okay, last question. Brian, do you think what Satan is to do now is the same thing he did with rebellion to convince a third of the angels in heaven? Theoretically and hypothetically, all I can say, answer it hypothetically and theoretically, is a yes. I can't prove it scripturally, but the circumstantial evidence lines up for that type of rebellion. That's why I enjoy the Rings of Power, the 2 seasons of it with the Saruman, Sauron comes to power, and how he makes people see only what they want to see, all the good things that his evil will produce. He pits good and evil, 2 sides, a dualism in people's mind, and these people get enamored with it. All they see is about altruistic purposes. Yeah. And that's pretty much, I would assume, what he did in heaven. Theoretically and hypothetically, yeah, I would say that is pretty much accurate statement based on the circumstantial evidence we have in the scripture. But there's no place directly that says that. That's why I say it's hypothetical. And be a hypothetical yes, unless proven otherwise. Okay? So let you join in that endeavor if you like. With that, I'm going to go ahead and say adios, folks. Get off here, folks, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. With that, you all be blessed in Jesus' name, and I'll see you next time, where we'll explore more on the occult world as well as the other things I'm going to bring up and teach on shortly after this, because I don't have anything to do right now.